Lesson Day STEM learners. This is Sir Peter, your basic calculus teacher. So this is our final lesson in basic calculus, which is lesson 3.7, the application of definite integrals in the computation of plane areas. So this is precedent to our topic, which is 3.6, which is definite integrals. So this time we will be applying definite integrals in terms of solving for areas. So for our learning objectives, we learn how to compute the area of the plane region using the definite integral, and we solve problems involving areas of plane regions. So before that, let's have a review first of your junior high school mathematics. In definite integrals, A is the upper limit and B is the lower limit. Is it a fact or a bluff? Very good. The answer is bluff because B is our upper limit while A is our lower limit. What type of function is y is equal to x minus 9? Constant function, linear function, or quadratic function? So this is grade 8 and grade 9 math. Correct. The answer is linear function. Number 3. Which of the following is the graph of y is equal to x squared plus 4? This is a review of precal. Parabola that opens upward, parabola that opens downward, parabola that opens to the left, or parabola that opens to the right. Obviously, since x squared is positive, so the answer is correct. Parabola that opens upward. 4 negative 2 is located on which quadrant? This is grade 8 mathematics. Correct. So it's quadrant 4. Number 5. 0, negative 4 is located on which axis? Positive x-axis, negative x-axis, positive y-axis, or negative y-axis? Correct. So it is located on negative y-axis. You're doing great. Let's now have number 6. Which of the following represents the unit for area? Is it the square units or the cubic units? Correct. The answer is square units. For item number 7, which of the following is the factor of x squared plus 5x plus 6? So this is grade 9 math. Is it A, B, C, or D? Correct. The answer is x plus 2 times x plus 3. So notice that when we multiply using FOIL method, so we have 2x and 3x, that's 5x. Then 2 times 3 is positive 6. So obviously, this is not the answer, but this should be the answer. Next, what about this one? A, B, C, or D? Correct. The answer is again letter C. So since the last term is negative, so we have negative 60. So it follows. And then when we combine negative 10x and 6x, that becomes the middle term, which is negative 4x. Lastly, let's have number 9. So observe that this is positive. So obviously, the answer is letter D because we need both to be negative so that it becomes positive 63. And combining negative 7x and negative 9x will result to negative 16x. I think we are now ready for our topic. Let's have case number 1. Finding the area of the region bounded by y is equal to the function f of x, the x-axis, the vertical lines A and B. So in case number 1, these are examples which involves the x-axis and which is the horizontal line. No? And the boundaries of the vertical line are represented by your upper and lower limits respectively, which are B and A. And then, of course, we have a given function. So in notation and in the graph, okay, this is how we illustrate this area. So we are trying to find the area under that curve. So this is the curve that we are referring to, and it has an area here covered with the boundaries, no? The vertical boundaries and the horizontal boundaries, which is the x-axis itself. So if it involves such case, then that is a case number 1. And the formula that we use is area, or A sub r, or area of the region, is equal to the integral from a to b f of x dx. So this is just like how we apply the integration process. So let's have problem number 1. So suppose you are needed to find the area of the plane region bounded by y is equal to 3x plus 1. The vertical boundaries x equals 1 and x equals 3 and the x-axis. So first, you write our given, that the function, and the boundaries. For the first boundary, of course, the lower number is our lower limit a, and the higher number is the upper limit b. Next, we graph. Can assign any values. So I have 3 times 1 plus 1, that will be 4. 3 times 2 plus 1, that will be 7. And 3 times 3 plus 1, that will be 10. So we will have coordinates such as 1, 4, 2, 7, and 3, 10. Plotting them on the Cartesian plane, we have 1, 4, 2, 7, and then 3, 10. And connecting the dots, we form the line that represents the linear function graphically. Then we draw the vertical line, which is x equals 1. So that's the leftmost part. And in the rightmost part, we have the b, which is the upper limit. Then we have the x-axis as one of our boundaries. That is the horizontal line. So notice that if we count the complete squares, obviously we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 squares. But observe this one. We have jigsaw puzzles that we could connect. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when we pair these jigsaw puzzles, it seems that there are 3 square units, no? When we form their pairs. So approximately, we might think that the possible area is 11 plus 3 units. So assuming that the entire area is exactly 14 or approximately 14. So we are just assuming the value based from what we see on the graph. Okay, so that's the shaded part of the region. Now let us prove that it is indeed close to 14, or we just approximate it by observation. Let's try the formula suggested by Raymond's integration. So we have a sub r is equal to the integral from a to b f of x dx. So our boundaries are set already. So we have from 1 to 3. And of course, we simply write the given function. So we integrate regularly using the constant multiple theorem and other rules. Next, so we'll have 3x squared over 2 plus x, that's the antiderivative, from 1 to 3. Then we apply the fundamental theorem of calculus by subtracting f of b minus f of a. So we have f of b minus f of a. So this will just be a calculator technique. So get your scientific calculators. Of course, the upper values will be 33 over 2, while the lower value will be 5 halves. And then subtracting, we'll get 28 over 2, or it is simply 14 square units. So you see how accurate, how we get the exact square units. We have observed that one a while ago in the graph, and it's obviously 14 square units. So this is how amazing Riemann integration is. So we have applied integration in getting the area of a plane region. Let's have the second example. So we are still on finding the area of the plane region on case 1. Let's have problem number 2. So we find the area of the plane region bounded by y is equal to 4x minus 6. And this time the boundaries are x equals 2 and x equals 5. Obviously, our a is 2. Can you follow? And our b is 5. So we plot first the given function. So that's a linear function, obviously, again, because the highest exponent is 1. So we assign values for x. Any value you could use like 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have 4 times 2 minus 6 will be 2. 4 times 3 minus 6 will be 6. Then 4 times 4 minus 6 is 10. And 5 times 4 minus 6 is 14. So again, we plot it on the Cartesian plane using these coordinates. So we have 2, 2, 3, 6, 4, 10, 5, 14. Then we connect the dots. Then we draw now the vertical line, which is x equals 2, and another vertical line, which is x equals 5. Of course, the x-axis should be present so that we can get the entire boundary. So obviously, we can again count the total number of boxes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 18 boxes. And then the incomplete ones will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So since there are 12 that are incomplete, we may pair them just like jigsaw puzzle. So 6 plus 18 is approximately 24. So we are assuming that indeed the area shaded here is 24 square units. But we can prove that one using Raymond's integration. So we have a sub r is equal to the integral from a to b f of x dx. Apply it. Substitute now the boundaries and the given function. So we apply it by simple integration using the constant multiple theorem. So we'll have 4x squared over 2 minus 6x from 2 to 5. Then we simplify 4 and 2 so that it becomes 2x squared. So again, we can now apply the fundamental theorem of calculus by subtracting f of b minus f of a. So that's f of b, it's 5, minus 2, which is our f of a. Upon substitution, we can now use our scientific calculator to aid our calculations. So the answer will be 20 for the upper values. And for the lower value, we will have negative 4. Subtracting 20 minus negative 4, again, it became exactly 24 square units. I hope you got case number 1. We'll proceed now to the second case, which is case number 2. So we are asked to find the area between a curve and a line. And this is how you should understand that one. So you have two given functions. We have f of x, which is the top function, minus the g of x, which is the bottom function. So the formula is the integral from a to b, the top function minus the bottom function. So you always do that, okay? So there are other ways of integrating in terms of dy. You will be using a different one. So you are subtracting the rightmost function minus the leftmost function. But since we are integrating in terms of dx, we are referring to the top minus the bottom function. So f of x is always the function on top, and g of x is always the top function below. Okay, so it depends. It's either the curve or the line could be the top or the bottom function. So, and then in this case, the values of a and b are not given, but it's you who's going to solve the given a and b. So for case number 2, let's talk about problem 3. What you're going to see is there are only two given functions and there are no other given. So the first given is a quadratic function. So obviously that graph would be a parabola later on. We also have y is equal to x. This is obviously linear. So we solve first for the missing a and b. And to solve that, we have two values for y. So it means we can actually equate y and y. Then we substitute x squared minus 2 and x. Then we form a quadratic equation. So that becomes negative x. We make it a standard form so that it becomes x squared minus x minus 2. So we can now apply factoring method, the one that we have reviewed a while ago. So the factors of x squared minus x minus 2 is the quantity x minus 2 times the quantity x plus 1. Then we apply the zero product property by equating both factors to 0. So we have x minus 2 is equal to 0 and x plus 1 is equal to 0 respectively. So we'll get x equals 2 and x equals -1, which are the roots. These roots will also be your limits. So your -1 is obviously your lower limit, and your x equals 2 is your upper limit, which is b. So later, when we integrate, we will use -1 to 2 as our boundaries. So first, the next thing that you need to do is to apply the table of values technique so that we could graph the parabola. So assigning values such as -1, 0, and 1, 2. So we have -1, -2, -1, and then 2. For the second function, whatever the value of y, it will be the value of x. So if you have -1, 0, 1, 2, it will just be the same with the y values. I hope you understand. Next, we plot them on the Cartesian plane. Let's plot first the parabola, which opens upward, -1, 1, 0, -2, 1, -1, and then we have 2, 2. Then we connect the dots so that it becomes a parabola. For y is equal to x, which is the linear function, let's have -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and then let's have 2, 2. And then you connect the dots. Obviously, we cannot really assume what's the exact area here. I can only count one square unit, but the rest are difficult to form. It's difficult to form the jigsaw puzzle there. So assuming it might be 3, might be 4, it might be 5. We don't know, but close to that number. Or 6, maybe. So we'll confirm that one when we apply the Riemann's integration and by subtracting the top function minus the bottom function. So this is now the area. Obviously, the function on top is the green one, so it's the line. So we will assign y is equal to x as our f of x. And then the function at the bottom is x squared minus 2. So we will be assigning it as g of x. Applying the formula for integration, we have the integral from a to b, the top function minus the bottom function dx. Substituting, we'll have the integral from -1 to 2. So this came from the solution a while ago for the values of a and b, which are the upper and the lower limit respectively. So we also have x minus the quantity x squared minus 2. Take note that it takes the negative sign of the subtrahend. So we will change all the subtrahend. And then we will rearrange so that it becomes quadratic. Then we can apply now the constant multiple theorem. Then next is to integrate. So the integration or the antiderivative is -x cubed over 3 plus x squared over 2 plus 2x from -1 to 2. We can now apply fundamental theorem of calculus by subtracting f of b, the upper values, and then minus f of a. Next, we use the scientific calculator to answer. We have 10 over 3. You may check. Then for the next one, we have -7 over 6. So subtracting both, the answer will be approximately 9 over 2 or 4.5 squared units. So you see how amazing the process of integration is. We can exactly get the plane area by applying integration. So let us now proceed to the next example or the final example. Problem number 4. So we're still on case number 2. Again, there should be 2 functions given in case 2. So again, it's a parabola which opens upward, and obviously this is a linear function. So what we will draw is a line. So you are obligated to solve first for a and b simultaneously because we will always solve y is equal to y. Then we equate both sides. Then we transpose x plus 2 to the other side so that it becomes quadratic. We simplify to become standard form. So we have x squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0 is our standard form of the quadratic equation. We can now factor this standard form so that it becomes the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then we solve for the value of x by zero product property. So x is 3 and x is negative 2 respectively, wherein we will assign our lower limit a, which is negative 2, and our upper limit b, which is 3. So later, when we integrate, we will use from the integral from negative 2 to 3. Next, we plot so that we can view which is the top function and which is the bottom function. So you can assign any values for as long as it fits the graph. So we have negative 2, 0, negative 1, negative 3. The vertex is 0, negative 4. We have 1, negative 3, 2, 0, and we also have 3, 5. Connecting, we'll have the parabola, which opens upward. For x plus 2, we have negative 2, 0, negative 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. So obviously, all of those will be aligned so that we form a line. And again, this is the shaded area that we are computing. So we wanted to know how many square units do we have on that yellow part. And it's difficult to jigsaw such curve. Okay, so we don't know. It's not exact. So it might be a decimal. Okay, so again, we apply which is the top function. So our f of x is the top function. So we have x plus 2. And obviously, our bottom function is x squared minus 4. So always use that formula, the integral from a to b, the top minus the bottom function based from the graph. So we follow that process. We have the integral from negative 2 to 3, the top function minus the bottom function dx. Then the negative sign will be taken by the bottom function so that it will change sign. So it becomes negative x squared plus 4. That's what. Next, we rearrange. Then we combine 2 and 4 so that it becomes 6. So that becomes negative x squared plus x plus 6. We can now integrate. So we'll have, using the sum and difference, then we have negative x cubed over 3 plus x squared over 2 plus 6x from negative 2 to 3. Applying the fundamental theorem of calculus, we subtract f of b minus f of a. Again, this is calculator technique. We'll have 27 over 2. You may recheck. Minus negative 22 over 3. This is the lower value, which is negative 22 over 3. And of course, the final answer will also be a calculator technique. So the answer will be 20.83 square units. So you round it off into 2 decimal places. So again, let's review. Case 1 involves the x-axis and 2 vertical lines and a given function. While case 2 will only involve 2 given functions, f of x and g of x. This is more difficult because a and b are not given, so you have to solve it first. Then you have to consider which function is on top and which function is on the bottom. So in this case, can you try this example? What case is this one? Correct. So this is a case 1. So by trying this, you can actually explore more of the practical applications of integration. Okay, especially in solving for plane areas. So this lesson is actually applicable for future engineers and architects because you can easily get the square unit of a land area. So I'll be ending my video lesson now. This is Sir Peter, your basic calculus teacher, now signing off. Did you learn something? Good day and God bless.